Okay, no, I'm just kidding. We're going to get started. Just a reminder for some people, put your phones on silent or airplane mode. So this is the city council, regular city council meeting for Minnetrista for September 15th, 2025. I'm going to call the meeting to order. It is 6:30. And first order, I'd like to ask that you all stand and join me for Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So welcome, everyone. For those of you that are here this evening in person, as well as those of you who will be watching later on YouTube, I'm going to start with some introductions. And I'd like to start out first introducing you to our brand new City Assistant Administrator, Paula Baumann. She's on the end here. As you recall, Ali Paulfus left us for greener pastures, and she is now the administrator in Breezy Point. And Paula comes to us from Delano with many years of experience, and we're so glad you're here and looking forward to working with you and many years of working together here in Minnetrista. So welcome, Paula. Next to Paula, we have our Public Works Director, Gary Peters, and then we have Allison Falsky, who is our city engineer with WSB, and then council present, we have Brian Govern, Claudia Lacey, Peter Vickery, Kathleen Refkin. I'm Lisa Whalen, I'm the mayor, and then to my right, we have City Administrator Jasper Krugel, Finance Director Brian Grimm, and on the end, we have our Chief of Police, Craig Squires, and then also remotely joining us is our legal expert, Sarah Sansala with Kennedy and Graven, and then David Abel is also remotely, and then Ann Meyerhoff is our city clerk, and she is taking notes also remotely. And then we have two special guests here this evening. We have Emily Brown, all right, and she'll be doing the presentation for the public hearing, and then Aaron Ballmer is here with AE2S. He's going to be giving us an update on the water treatment plant. So with that, we're looking for approval of the agenda. Are there any additions to the agenda? Changes? If none, is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Refkin. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Vickery. Any further questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes 5-0. Tonight, we don't have any special presentations. Do we have any persons to be heard? Nobody signed up, so I'm assuming the people here this evening are probably for the public hearing. We'll move on to consent agenda items. They consist of A, approve our work session meeting minutes from 8/18/2025. B is approve a city council regular meeting minutes, also from 8/18/2025. C is a resolution to approve claims. D is a resolution to approve on-sale intoxicating liquor license application for Everly Farms. E is approve the SCADA task order number 3 with AE2S for upgrading the city supervisory control and data acquisition reporting system. F is approve agreement with the West Tonka School District number 277 for the lease of election equipment for 2025 school board elections. G is approve a second home agreement at 2585 Highland Road. And H is a resolution to accept improvements and authorize final payment for well number 3 for the rehabilitation improvements. Are there any you wish to remove? If none, is there a motion to approve consent agenda items A through H?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Vickery. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Refkin. Any further questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes. So if you're here for any consent agenda items, they have been passed and you are good to go. Next, we have a public hearing. Tonight, our public hearing is for our street 2026 street project, our public improvements. This is a public hearing, so Emily is going to give us an update or a presentation, and after that, we will open it up to the public for comments or questions. Thank you again for joining us, Emily.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the City Council. I'm here to talk about the 2026 proposed street improvement project. So just as a little background, the city of Minnetrista is focused on improving street conditions throughout the city. Streets are always initially evaluated based on the condition of the pavement surface. And then we look at the streets defined for the project and do additional pavement cores as part of our work to determine the full scope of the project. For this year's project, or for next year's project, I should say, Game Farm Road north and east from County Road 26 to County Road 110, Willow Court, Maple Lane, Saunders Lake Drive North and Cedar Court, Basswood Drive, Lux Lane, Saunders Lake Drive South, Walnut Drive and Cherrywood Court, Pinnacle Way and Lakeside Drive and Lakeside Circle are all listed for improvements. Just looking at some pictures of the existing roads, Lakeside Drive and Lakeside Circle were built in 1997. Based on the pavement condition, we're seeing surface stripping and some cracking. Similar condition on Pinnacle Way. You can see the picture there on the right. Basswood Drive and that area were built in 2000. Again, similar surface stripping and some cracking. Willow Court was built in 2002 and is showing a similar condition. Game Farm Road, north and east, up to just a little past Blair Road. They were built in 2010, and showing some longitudinal cracking and surface stripping. There's a portion of Game Farm Road that is older, that goes from Blair until where it becomes an urban curb section, closer to the school in County Road 110. That was constructed sometime around 1990 and was not included in the 2010 improvements. Since that time, that section of road had been patched and repaired numerous times. You can really see it in that photo. So in general, what we're looking for improvements is mill and overlay. This work includes removing the top 2 inches of the existing pavement and replacing it with new asphalt. Pavement cores were taken throughout the areas, and some areas were recommended for full pavement removal and replacement. That's removing the entirety of the existing pavement section, replacing it with new asphalt. The in-place aggregate base, which is the section that's below the pavement, would remain in place. Areas identified for this were Game Farm Road, Basswood Drive, and North Saunders Lake Drive. Street grades would match existing, and we'd make sure that we tie into existing driveways and match drainage patterns. There might be some minor adjustments to help improve drainage. Spot curb repair, it will be looked at for all the areas that have curb and gutter, and pedestrian ramps would be installed on the trail on Saunders Lake Drive North, West Edge Boulevard. Okay, street risks would generally remain the same on all mill and overlay areas. The section of Game Farm Road that was full depth removal and replacement had a varying width. That's because of years of patching and repairs that were done on the road. So we'd propose that that section be made a 22-foot wide pavement section with 2-foot shoulders. This would match the other rural sections of Game Farm in the area.
Emily, would the shoulders be gravel or what?
They would be gravel shoulders.
Okay.
Correct. Staff has also requested improvements on West Edge Boulevard be included in the project. Cores were obtained in 2024 indicate that this would generally be a mill and overlay, but the portion between Willow Court and Sugar Mill Lane would need a full depth removal and replacement. Street widths and grading would remain the same, minor adjustments for drainage patterns where possible. Spot curb and gutter repairs throughout as needed. Portions of this road are within Mound city limits. Staff has been in discussions with the city of Mound, and they would be supporting the project by covering their portion of the proposed improvements, which is estimated to be about $112,000. Additional design fee for this would be $7,700. We're also looking at potentially doing some trail improvements. This would be a mill and overlay of the trail along Saunders Lake Drive North and West Edge Boulevard. This could be included as bid alternate for the project to be added or remove the project after bidding. Utility improvements, Public Works is reviewing the manhole conditions throughout the projects. We'd look at installing I&I inflow and infiltration barriers on the sanitary manholes where needed. Again, that'll depend on the Public Works review of which one's needed in the area. It would also be beneficial to replace 2 culverts under Game Farm Road and clean the inlets of all culverts on Game Farm Road as part of this project. This was not included in the feasibility report. Adding this work would require some additional design and wetland permitting for a fee of $600. Okay, there's a summary of the project costs. So for surface improvements on all the roads, that's just over $2.8 million. The bid alternate rail improvements on Saunders Lake Drive North and West Edge Boulevard are estimated at $23,000. The culverts, cleaning culverts and the culvert replacement on Game Farm Road are estimated at just under $70,000. And West Edge Boulevard street improvements are estimated at $450,000. This would bring the project total cost of $3,370,000. The City of Minnetrista assessment policy portions of cost of the will be assessed to benefiting property owners per Minnesota State Statute 429 and the city's assessment policy. Historically, this has been approximately 50% of the total project costs. Project costs associated with the surf and storm improvements would be assessed. Hardship deferrals may be available for senior citizens, disabled persons, members of the National Guard, and military reserves. Payment period is typically 20 years. Assessment payment questions can be directed to Brian Grimm, the City Finance Director.
But Emily, there are no stormwater projects in the assessment area, correct?
The culvert replacements would be within the
They are
assessment.
within that?
Mayor Whalen, if I may.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interject. I think one of the things that we can look at too, if I'm not mistaken, the storm sewer culvert work, that's within the portion that's the state aid route.
Correct.
Right.
So we could certainly look at having state aid. If council would like us to direct us to have state aid pay for that, we certainly could. And I believe we're actually, and Emily can go over this later on in her presentation, but with the estimated assessment amounts, what it would be based on the city's policy versus.
It wouldn't really change.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. And so, yeah, I think you said 69,000 is estimated for the culvert projects on Game Farm, and we can use state aid because they're all within the state aid area, the section.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I ask a question quick? Is that West Edge Boulevard amount, is that or is that the total portion, or is that there's the city of Mounds portion? Is that our portion? 450, or is that the total amount?
That's the total.
Okay, so then
The
there's
450 is a total.
total. Okay, so then the
Yeah.
112 would be, or there was an amount that was city of Mounds portion,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Ours would be 337,500.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'm assuming that's based on lineal feet.
Yes.
Okay.
So for the proposed assessments on Game Farm Road, this is the full depth removal and replacement area on Game Farm. We are estimating a assessment amount of $10,000 per unit. There are 15 properties adjacent to the full depth removal and replacement area that are proposed to be assessed. The city's policy is to assess 50% of the street and storm cost. Based on the policy, preliminary assessments would total to be approximately $16,200. But proposed preliminary assessment amount is $10,000, which is the assessment cap based on special assessment analysis from the 2023 reclamation and reconstruction project. Okay, so looking at the funding, the surface improvements would be funded through a share of the city responsibility, which is just under $2 million, state aid funding, which is $740,000, and then these special assessments. The bid alternate would fall under the city's city's responsibility for the trail improvements. The culverts, as mentioned before, would be funded by state aid. and West Edge Boulevard will be shared with the city of Mound for their portion within their city limits.
And so Emily, just another quick question for funding. The 22.8, that would come out of park dedication funds? Can we use park dedication funds for that?
We have in the past, yeah.
So, I mean, I'm assuming that's where it would come from. Yeah, okay. All right, thank you. And then also just for clarification, sorry. All right, actually, other funding is 140,000 and then the city's portion is 1,948,000 because we are actually being assessed one of those assessments.
Okay, yep.
Just so that people understand that we have property there, we have to pay an assessment. So other funding would be 140,000, whereas the city's responsibility would be 1,948,000 versus 38,000, just so we're all clear on that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Looking ahead to the schedule, we had a neighborhood meeting on July 14th. The city council accepted the feasibility report and called for this hearing tonight on August 4th. Tonight is the improvement hearing, and should the council move forward, they would authorize the preparation of plans and specifications with the intent to open bids in January of 2026. The assessment hearing with the bid information and the award of contract would be in February, with construction happening between June and September of 2026. Just want to note that that's a wide range of construction. This is a larger project area. We do not expect any of the given streets to take that full duration. It would be much shorter duration of construction than that full time listed.
Right.
With that, I would stand for any questions the council may have.
Council, any other questions?
And the only other thing I'll maybe mention, I think we talked about it last time, there will be like a concurrent 475, more on the bonding side or whatever, that we'll have some touch points in later
Okay.
this year or whatever.
Yeah,
So as
right.
far as that. but-
Because we're going to be bonding for some of this, obviously.
Yep,
yeah.
yep, as an
Okay.
FYI.
Okay. So thank you, Emily, at this time. You can stay in case there's other questions. So I'm going to open up the public hearing. And if you're here regarding the project that Emily just described, I'm assuming if you're here, you're probably on Game Farm Road or own property on Game Farm Road. But if you're not, you can still come forward. You'd have to come forward, state your name and address at the podium, and we'll be happy to take your comments and answer your questions, if any. Anybody?
So, I haven't been ever hit with a special before. I've seen there was my name is Robert Moulton and I'm 585 Game Farm. I seen that there was a note on there with the special assessment for seniors. I know all of my neighbors, they're all in that category. So I'm kind of curious, what does that mean?
I'm going to let Brian.
Oh, as far as the potential deferral, or is that what you're seeing?
Yeah.
It's based on like income and balance sheet type things. So you just can't blanketly get the deferral. You have to be, there's guidelines per I think our policy that sort of follows some state guidelines too, that you have to meet certain, I guess, thresholds to qualify for that deferral.
Even if just because they're seniors doesn't automatically
Correct, yeah, 'cause we've had that
qualify
question
them.
in the past.
Yeah,
It's usually
okay.
got to be clarified that there's
Yeah.
requirements that need to be met that are income and asset related, that usually I've never seen anyone meet it here in my time, in my almost 20.
But the other thing too is that if they are deferred, it continues to accrue interest.
That's the big
So
thing.
that's kind of the drawback. I mean, to
Just gets
some
bigger
extent,
because
yeah.
of the
So if
interest.
this special assessment is assessed, what rate? I think I seen it was over 10 or 20 years or something like that. What rate?
Usually 20 years.
20 years, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's usually, we do the council, our policy is up to 2% above what we can issue debt for. So sometimes, a percent or two above that. But so if we issue debt for 3.5% or 4%.
But that's,
5%.
we need to discuss that because we're not issuing debt for the Game Farm Road project because it's MSA dollars. So then that would be the question, are we going to,
But
I mean, we'll have some interest rate, but since we don't have any debt for that, you know, it might be 2 or 3%
Yeah.
then.
We'll usually use the market rate. I mean,
the
obviously
market
council
rate.
can, you know, set,
Okay.
but usually then if we don't issue debt specifically, we use what the going market rate is, which obviously we get that from our financial advisor.
Okay.
Yep. I mean,
But it might be 3.5 or 4% or whatever that market
it's
rate.
been usually between 3.5% and 5% or so. It's
Okay.
been the interest rate, so.
Mayor Whalen, if I may also, there is an assessment hearing associated with this. So this is the first of two public hearings. And so if once we get to an assessment hearing, the notifications would include the proposed final assessment amount and the terms of the assessment. So both the 20-year terms and the interest rate at that time. So that would be included in any correspondence prior to that hearing.
The other thing that we're at is there a significant runoff that goes from through our property and out into Dutch Lake. In this project, has any of that been discussed or addressed? Or is the city even aware of it?
We might not be aware of it. So those are things you really should have Emily and or Allison about. Can they still connect with you folks? And okay, so they still would have time to do that. Okay, because we would want to address it now versus later.
Well, before the road.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Anybody else? Questions or comments? I assume you know that guy. So you're not trying to choke him. So, right. And I just want to say the assessment is probably not going to go down, but it's not going to go up because the 10,000 was the max. Yeah. The only way the assessment would go down is if the guesstimated numbers here, estimated numbers go down significantly, and 50% would be less than the 10,000, just so that's clear.
Okay.
Okay, you need to state your name.
Oh,
And
Dave
address.
Shulman, a 6010 Game Farm. I live across the road from
Yeah.
Mr. Bolton. In fact, a lot of my property that runs under a culvert that runs through his property to get to the lake. So
Okay.
I'm not sure what the runoff questions are.
It goes through my yard, David, it's only knee deep.
I know. So I don't know what the mitigations or what the scope of all of that is. In number 14 up there, belongs to the school. Are they assessed or
They are.
free?
No, they're tax-free. They don't pay taxes, but for assessments, nonprofits do or government entities do pay assessments.
Okay.
And then we do too, because we own one of the parcels that's in that area. That's why I clarified that earlier.
Okay. Did I understand correctly that one of your algorithms for figuring out assessments went to what, 17,000 or 15,000 or something?
Based on 50% of the cost.
Okay, but you're capping it based on precedent in other places.
Right.
Okay. What was the other question? And I see that you're assessing people who are indirect, like 3 and 4 there are not game code addresses, I don't think,
Yeah, that's a good point.
but they are explicit, but
Right. Maybe Allison or somebody can answer that. I think they have to access their property via Game Farm Road.
yeah,
That's correct.
And so that's why they are being assessed.
okay, but you don't assess people that are upstream on Game Farm Road, even though they're mostly using this to go in and out.
Well, they've already paid an assessment back in 2010 when we
Okay.
paved Game Farm Road. All of those properties were assessed, and just FYI, they were assessed 12,500.
We were
Just
assessed back in 1990. Did you decide? Thank you for looking up when that park was paved. Back at that point, we asked whether we could pay that half of that assessment or part of the assessment and finance the rest.
You can do that.
That was not possible at the time.
Oh,
Here you can pay the first year of the assessment, you can pay either in full or you can pay a partial, but it's only in the first year because then whatever that remaining balance is at the county and it's paid through with the annual property taxes, unless you subsequently pay off in full in a future year. You
right.
can't make partial payments other than the first year.
You can make a partial or full payment. Then after that, it's every year unless you want to pay it off completely. So let's say in year 5, you go, oh, I've got an extra 5,000, whatever the amount is, then you can pay it all off.
That would be to the city at that point,
Right.
but otherwise
Yeah.
whatever's not paid off just gets paid with your, semi-annual property taxes. It's just one of the line items on your property tax bill.
And the interest on that is not yet determined. But since you're not bonding this, you're paying this project out of cash, your portion?
More or less. It's hard, it's I can't go into road project 101, but we get certain funding from the state
Yeah.
for this road.
There's several columns of where it
Exactly.
came from, but
And so,
the city's portion,
yep,
you're budgeting for next year,
right.
pay it all.
More or less.
Actually,
Yes.
we're gonna be bonding for all the amounts that aren't coming from another funding
Right.
source. If it's not coming from state aid or something. So we are gonna actually issue a bond
Right.
for the project next year.
Correct.
I think there was the delineation of some of the monies coming from state aid. So I guess more to clarify, we are bonding for this project. We don't have, $2 million sitting on hand or whatever.
We're not bonding for 3.3 million. We're probably going to be bonding for 2.5 million.
Okay, but we end up paying, we end up basically borrowing the money from you guys.
Yes, basically.
And we're just another way to finance it. I mean, if some people pay it off in full, a lot of times if they either have cash on hand or if they can get a better interest rate through a different,
Yeah.
place, then it's like they'll
Right.
decide to pay it off if they think the rate's better than our rate, I guess, or.
Okay. Well, I mean, the people down Game Farm, were assessed 15 years ago. We were assessed 35 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm not in a hardship situation. I don't see it improving the value of my property because back then it went from gravel to paved. Now it's going from an old paved to a new paved. As well as not going to make a difference on that. But in my book, it's a relatively small amount. For other people, it isn't.
Right. I understand. No, I get it. Yeah.
I have one other question. So.
You have to come to the podium, otherwise the recording. Yeah, no, we'll hear you. We'll hear you. The recording won't hear you. So.
Might be good. So, my property is number 2 up there, right? And the neighbor property 3 and 5. Same size property, but it's 2 different lots owned by the same person. Are they going to be paying 2 assessments?
Probably.
For 2 buildable lots.
You're saying it's which parcels?
3 and 5 is owned by the same person, and their access or driveway goes.
But there's 2 houses though, right?
I think it's usually if they're 2 buildable lots.
If they're 2 buildable lots, then we
Assess them both.
just
Both.
generally assess them both. If they're, I'm not sure why it's split like this.
Because she bought the property to have access to it. So in
Okay.
other words, her house that she purchased was on 3, right?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Her house is on 3.
And so she didn't have real access. So she
Okay.
bought 5 to have access
Have
to
to have
her
access.
house.
Well,
She should have come.
she should have come,
And she
because
should-
then the council can decide whether they're going to assess 1 lot or 2 lots.
If I may.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I can.
Go ahead. go
Okay,
ahead.
thank you. Because it's buildable, she could combine them into 1 lot and then she would then get 1 assessment. We've done that. We've given that option on, I think on Trillium. There was a property that had 2 lots. But because it's buildable and then that could be sold off as a separate lot and they could have a shared driveway agreement, then it gets assessed as 2.
Basically, if that was sold right now, that you couldn't subdivide that small. Because hers
no,
is 10, right?
right. It's 10-acre minimum, but it's a legally non-conforming lot. And she could combine the two if she wanted to and have one lot, but then in the future, she couldn't subdivide them.
And there's a cost to combining the lots.
It's
Yeah,
that
not much. It's not that much.
Oh, what-
Yeah, it's not that much.
It was
I mean,
like
if you-
$50.
Yeah, it's not that much. So if you talk with your neighbor, and she's interested in that, she should let us know immediately.
Mhm.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right,
Nice neighbor.
all right. Anybody else have questions or comments? And so, as Allison pointed out, there will be another public hearing regarding the assessment dollars, which, like I said, won't be any more than 10,000. And then we'll also explain the interest rate and do some more explaining on other things. But with that, then, if there's nobody else, council, any questions? Hearing none, then I'm going to close the public hearing and move it on to our next agenda item. And that is order improvements and authorize preparation of plans and specs. And this is where if you have issues, drainage issues, please contact our engineers so that they can work with you on your property specifically and make sure that all those drainage issues are taken care of prior to the plans being finalized. So with that, is there a motion then to order the improvements and authorize preparation of plans and specs?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Refkin. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Govern. Any further questions? Hearing none. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes 5-0. So next, we're authorizing adding West Edge Road to the project. Any questions on that? I mean, if we're in the area and we're doing all this and we can get $112 or more for Mound to help out, let's do it. All right, then I need a motion authorizing adding West Edge Road to the project. Thank you, Mr. Vickery. Is there a second? Thank you, Mr. Govern. Any further questions, comments? Hearing none. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Aye. And then authorize additional WSB fee for that and for the, I think it's the West Edge project.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Refkin. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Govern, thank you. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Ms. Brown. Please come and join us again sometime. All right. Next, we'll move on to our business items. Emily, could you close the door for us? Thank you. We'll move on to our business items, and this is approving ordinance 502, which is a tobacco licensing moratorium. Mr. Jasper.
Yep. Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the city council. We discussed this at the work session. Essentially, this ordinance will put up to a 12-year moratorium or 12-month, sorry, 12-month moratorium on issuing any tobacco licenses. And that'll allow us time to update our city code. So between, if this is approved tonight, between now and at some point within the next 12 months, we will bring forward ordinances or an ordinance to update our tobacco code.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, is there a motion then to approve amendment, the ordinance number 502 for the tobacco licensing moratorium?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Lacy. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Vickery. Any further questions, comments? Hearing none. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes 5-0. And next we'll move on to approving the amendment to A2S Task Order Number 11. This is for the water treatment plant design and bidding. Good evening, Mr. Volmer. Thank Aaron. I'll call you Aaron, it's easier. Take it away.
All right, Madam Mayor, members of council. Here to answer questions regarding our amendment request for our contract for design and go over the updates that were made over the last month or so to modify the site and architectural of the outside based on feedback we received from the residents. So with that, again, we'll talk about site plan adjustments, architectural adjustments, and schedule. So if you recall, the original set of plans that was issued to contractors included this site design. We decided to extend the road kind of to the northeast. We felt that it minimized the impact to the community. Any truck traffic coming in and out of the site during construction and during operation would be outside of the community. And we just felt that that was a benefit. There was also an existing easement that Met Council was utilizing through Three Rivers Park District Park for force main, so that it was open and it seemed to make a lot of sense to go that route. After issuing plans out to contractors, the community was provided a site plan based by the developer as we were working through easements, and they reached out to Jasper and city staff, essentially complaining about us utilizing that route behind their homes. What we didn't know or weren't really appreciative of when we made that decision was a lot of them appreciated the kind of the natural wooded feel behind their home, and then they felt that that driveway is narrow and low impact, it would still impede kind of the feel of their backyards. And there was clearly some statements made by the developer when they sold those lots that they felt that they were misled when they purchased those lots, that they didn't fully understand that there would be a driveway in their backyard. So after lots of discussions with residents, we met with them, we heard them out, also met with Ganya to talk about their concerns. We city staff and AE2S met to talk about improvements or adjustments to the site. So this is just a zoomed in view of.
But the council also agreed that we would consider making that adjustment.
Yeah.
So I just want to make that clear. It's okay.
Yep. So we moved forward to make those adjustments. I fully appreciate that we moved forward to make those adjustments AE2S did without formal approval of our amendment, but it was clear that these adjustments needed to be made and we didn't want to delay the project any further. So we started on those knowing that we would be here today to discuss the amendment request. So this is again a image of the original site and how it was laid out. Really our goal in this original plan was to minimize the amount of improvements on the site from a cost standpoint. We felt like, just the driveway in and out, minimal landscaping. We did have an allowance in the bid for landscaping, trees and things, but that would be kind of worked out during construction with the contractor and the city's landscape provider that they utilize in other city projects. After hearing the community and their concerns about that driveway, they recommended that we instead redesign the site to connect to, I believe it's Wolfberry in the neighborhood. We expressed to them our original goal of trying to minimize the amount of truck traffic during water plant operation that would come through their neighborhood, and they really didn't have a concern of that. So we told them that by putting the driveway there, they would have chemical trucks driving through their neighborhood to access the water plant and utilizing that driveway between homes to access the water plant, and they felt like that was an acceptable alternative to having the driveway behind their homes, kind of in a wooded area. A bit of a surprise to me, but they were very clear
Their
about that.
homes aren't next to the new road.
Correct. And I think, and I also think that those two homes also aren't sold yet, or those
Yeah.
lots aren't sold yet. So
Yeah.
opportunity for Ganya to be very clear now for those home buyers,
Plus they can plant trees.
plus they can plant
Yeah.
trees. So,
Plus it's not like, so the other thing is too, we're not talking, 20 trips a day. We're talking, 2-3 trips maybe a day at the most.
not even.
Yeah,
A couple of
Right.
trips a week,
right.
probably.
Especially with the new SCADA system.
Right. Chemical, right? There's always that perceived risk.
Right.
It's very little, there's
Yeah.
the perceived risk. So we try to minimize it whenever we can.
Yeah.
But they were clear that they preferred this option. They also wanted to do everything in our power to shield the water plant from their view, which I appreciate as much as I love water plants. I appreciate that people don't want to look at them every day. So we also took the dirt that was being excavated from the water plant site and built what we call Mount Minnetrista.
Hey, maybe we'll have the highest elevation in Hennepin County. Yeah, there you go.
Great sledding hill for the kids, maybe. But for perspective, the top of that now hill is essentially the same as the main level of the homes in the neighborhood. So basically, if they look out their main level, they would see the very top of that berm. You will still likely see the water plant, but we're also planting trees on top of that hill. So over time, that will continue to shield the water plant from their view. And this is really the extent of the space that we're utilizing. We are no longer utilizing that drive-in and that easement on Three Rivers Park District. So that's now been removed from the plans. It focuses a lot of the work for the contractor into a smaller location. It also utilizes more dirt that we're excavating from the water plant on site, so they don't have to haul that off. So there's some cost savings there. And there's some cost savings in the amount of asphalt that we have to put down.
Like $1 million.
Not $1 million, I wish. It's a magnitude less than that, but it is money. And long-term, there's less for the city to maintain, right?
Right.
Less asphalt, less
Right.
curb and gutter. There's only one stormwater pond in this design. The original design had two because of the length of the road and just how we could drain things. So it is a much more compact site. So we feel good about that. We also did our best to accommodate the existing pickleball courts. We're not removing that and replacing it. It's staying and we're just working around it. So we had to adjust the grading to accommodate that. But for all intents and purposes, I think the modifications really look good, and I think the community will appreciate that.
Plus, we don't have to plow so much in the winter.
Is there still room for a basketball court?
There could be, but if I may, the neighborhood residents that we've talked to have indicated they do not want a basketball court.
Well,
So,
I mean, that's fine, but the rest of the residents want that and expect it since they aren't getting the ballpark there. So, I mean, these people are getting their new road and a huge hill. For the other 900 residents in the neighborhood, they're expecting a basketball court, which has been told to them.
it appears there'd be space for it if that's what you'd like to put in there. So we still could do that. That's the prerogative of city council.
So also to help illustrate to the residents the I'll say the improvements we're doing to the site, more so help them understand the amount of landscaping and tree coverage that we put on the site. We took it a little bit further. We worked with WSP to help with an actual landscape plan that will go into the bid package now. So allow contractors to work that into their bid. And this is the landscape plan. So green is normal turf grass that's mowed. The orange color is more of a natural prairie grass. Blue is for the stormwater pond. So there's a lot of trees being added to the site, a lot to the top of that berm and kind of the drive in. So the site will look much more wooded once it's all done and as it grows.
And then since this is park area, can the landscaping be paid for out of our park dedication fund or out of our tree? How about this? Out of our tree fund, because it's trees and it's for environmental purposes.
Totally up to you.
So we'll.
The only thing we probably a little bit is trees. Gary's probably got things you can spend that on as well as.
Oh, I know,
Park dedication, there's always park improvement.
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
so I guess, yeah.
Maybe tree fund, maybe.
There's gonna be
Just to remember, we started ash removal, the
Yeah.
ash removal,
I got one in my backyard. You can get rid of.
hundreds.
I know, tell me about it.
So, I mean,
That's
it's gonna
nothing
be a big
compared to what,
expense that
yeah,
we should probably look at saving some of that money for.
yeah. All right. Well, let's just figure out what the landscape tree cost is going to be and how we want to pay for it then. We'll do that later. Okay.
We can ask whichever successful contractor wins project, we can ask them for a breakdown from the
Yeah.
sub and
Okay.
decide where that money.
Okay.
So thank you for sending the spreadsheet and all
Yeah.
my questions. With the spreadsheet you sent, with the breakdown of all the hours and all that, a lot of that is before June 16th when we changed the plans.
Sure.
So why is that $80,000 in there when the change, I'm totally fine and understand we have to pay for all the changes we threw at you after June 16th.
Right.
And that's like $53,000. So when you take out all the ones on this itemized list from before that, it's like $80,000. Because these
So-
go back, so assuming the dates are right, these go back to like December, February.
Yeah.
April, May, I mean.
So that
like-
was, so as we progressed through the project, originally, in a weird way, originally when we scoped the project, we assumed we would be putting a driveway in like this. After we looked at the site and saw the easement that we had, we actually went that direction, and the additional work to go that direction added a lot of easement coordination with all of those different entities. I personally didn't fully appreciate the amount of coordination that would take to coordinate with, Ganya, Three Rivers, Met Council, MnDOT for that access to Highway 7. So that plus the project management time, I don't think it's quite 83, but I think the civil, again, I didn't break it down by the bulleted list and the amendment just because of the way people record their time, but more by our practices and how they do work. So our civil group, I think was like 40 something. Electrical, so just to redesign the electrical on the site was about 13, I believe.
Right, I understand that, but like what I'm saying is, so the breakdown you gave me has dates that were before this. Why
Yes.
weren't those dates already paid for on all of the other invoices, and why are they included in this 130?
Some of them were. So I guess we bill, as time comes in monthly, it gets added to an invoice and it's billed. And we have phases of a project, right? 30, 60, 90. So again, some of these are, a little hour here, a little hour there. Oftentimes they don't add up to much, so we don't really worry about it. But once you get to the end of a project and things start to trend beyond our budget, we look back and say, well, we've been working on easements a lot here, and it starts to add up, right? But we tend to bill it as it comes in.
So they've been paid.
They've been paid, we've been
Well,
paid.
but
So
they couldn't, but then why is there,
I haven't billed, I have a lot of time I've
130.
held because I can't, the way we run our projects, I can't bill over my contract amount. So I have time that I'm holding that we've put in on legitimate project work that I haven't billed because we billed stuff that was out of scope as we're accruing the costs. So it's all legitimate time. That's why I sent you the full spreadsheet, because it's
Right,
time
no.
that we've billed as things are happening.
but you're
that-
including it in the amount that's been over the 130.
Right, because in the amendment request, it includes all the easement coordination that happened throughout the project. And when we kind of paused in that February, March timeframe, and we went through a lot of the different iterations, our team, there's a lot of, when you start and stop and you have to, adjust things, that took a lot of rework for our team. So as I went through and just looked at comments, that's why I sent you the comment report, because
No,
that was the
I read it
easiest
all.
way.
I mean, I read it all, I highlighted it all.
Full spreadsheet, I
Yeah.
really got into my engineer world there and breakdown. That's
So,
one I just
I mean,
went through
there's-
the comments.
I mean, if you look at some of the billing, like
Okay.
one guy worked 151 hours in a month, that's full time.
Is that, yeah, so that's Ross doing various things. That's probably.
so Aaron, what I'm going to ask, so right now, the 149,688, is that it? That is total, and that brings us up to speed or up to par with everything back, all the way back. And so then we're good. And some of that 149 is also the reworking of the roadway to the new layout and that. And so kind of in your estimation, how much do you think, again, I know you don't know exact numbers because it's just an estimate. How much do you think we're actually going to save by doing this new layout? Site is one stormwater pond versus two. Most of the excavation dirt is going to be on site. They don't have to haul it away. And then it's a much shorter road or driveway to construct. What do you think that will save us?
So I actually had my team look at that. So we're saving between the asphalt reduction and the dirt work reduction, we're saving about 100,000 in just that work.
Okay,
We have to add that retaining wall on the north side of the parking lot because we've tightened the site up a little bit.
okay,
I mean, that's probably $45,000 to $50,000 of retaining wall. So all in all, we're probably saving up about $50,000 in site work
okay,
that will be removed out of the contractors.
okay.
So it is
Not huge, but I'm just trying to put this in perspective. So actually the 150,000 is really like 100,000 over in terms of overall costs.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right, but I
Okay.
think, for me, the issue is the 130, not because some of that is going forward.
Right,
Right, so
right.
132. Some of that is what should have previously been billed according to the dates
And it-
of the services.
And it was. So I guess that's where I think, I see where your questions are. If it's,
Well,
I would consider it out of scope work that we build, because that's how, when people build to a project, you know, I review basically the time.
well, if it's
that's
already
what-
been billed and it's already been paid, which, and so far you've maxed out the 1.1 million that was
Yeah.
paid. So then why are you asking for another 149 if it's already been billed and we've already paid it and you're within budget for that?
I will be within budget with them, and so I have time that we're holding that I have not billed yet, that is
Right,
scope time. So if we look at it a different way, if I hadn't billed that time and I had held budget to bill the time that was for in-scope work, I would just be billing you that time now. So I just basically, because it's a long project, right? It's a year. We don't want to hold time and not bill it for that long of time. So we just bill the time as it comes in. So we have been paid for it, but I have
you have $149,000.
of time that's I'm holding because I don't have the contractual ability to bill it right now.
Right,
Max early.
right. And so now in order to continue working, you need the 149,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mhm. So we've already paid for work that wasn't in the contract.
Oh, I understand.
And
that.
then
That's- it's not-
now we need to decide, and we can't really stop the project,
Yeah.
especially not for, 149,000. And when you do the differential between what's going to be saved versus what we're spending in additional engineering
But
fees, it's about 100 grand.
But clearly you knew a while ago you were going over
Okay, but
budget and
that's
it's
not,
but
maybe that's,
I get
No,
to
I-
ask the questions.
but I think,
He knows this. Jasper warned him I was going to ask him a bunch of questions. I want to know why, because we're not done. We're going to keep using you obviously for, once the bidding is done and this is going forward. Why didn't you come forward sooner?
Right.
Back in May.
they didn't know that they
April?
were going to overdo the budget.
So the,
According to this, going back to October and through May, you were doing stuff out of scope, above and beyond what we asked, what was in the original scope. So why wasn't it brought forward then?
so I think I would use an analogy of the long project, right? It takes a year to design something like this. We do things to keep the project moving with understanding that we try not to budget a project so tight where we can't do things to just be good partners on a project, right? But when those things start to add up over time and me as a project manager start to look at a budget, and as I progress towards completion, I say, I'm really starting to get too close and I don't have enough to do the tasks I have to do. So you're right. If I had really been on top of it, I would have billed that time as additional services as it happens.
But then you're also spending time,
Spending
yeah.
contracts,
yeah,
right? So we try to be cautious that we're mindful of it and we watch it. But at some point, if it starts to accrue too much, we have to bring it up. And unfortunately, I should have brought it up a little bit earlier. I did mention it to Jasper and the team when we got to end of the design. I said, hey, all this easement work at the end put me over. It was a lot more than I expected. So, I was about 45 to 50 over at that point. And then, and then it kind of added to that whole total. So it was brought up at the end. There would likely have been that request at that point. And then with the site redesign, it became a much bigger number. So ideally, we do bring it up as early as we can, but it's also trying to not make every interaction about money and contract amendments. So, but I think that's a great point. So
Can I ask a question? So it was about $50,000 because we didn't get the community involved earlier to ask them where they wanted the entrance.
Mhm.
So that's a
Actually,
teaching.
it's not that we didn't ask them. They weren't paying attention to the information given out, the town hall, the notices and everything else.
that's always.
and
I mean,
Jen,
that's
and
a big part.
generally,
Like they had the information, they weren't looking at it.
generally, when a city does a public project like this, a public building, I mean, you do town halls, you do, open houses, which we've done. But ultimately, the final decision is the council's. Now, as Aaron pointed out, the road access, we didn't think about that or know about that, know that those property owners would be adverse to it. Now, having said that, I think ultimately we have a better design. A little bit less cost. I mean, not a lot, but we actually have a better design and a better outcome. And I think we have a lot more residents that are happy about it. So I
How many
think the outcome is
residents
good.
came to how many residents would you say?
5.
Full room.
I would say there's probably about 10 homes
Oh.
represented, all I think on Wolfberry Curve. The realtor, Jeff Martineau, who's here, I think during one of our meetings was also there. A Gagne representative was on teams. So there's a good, and we really push them to say, hey, if we make these changes, like you need to be an advocate in your neighborhood because this is the last change that we're going to do. So be happy with it. And if one of your neighbors isn't happy with it, you have to tell them about the process. So they were very supportive, and they kind of have a smaller group now of 3 residents that kind of disseminate that information to everybody else. And they've been very happy with the figures that have been developed and the plan moving forward. So I think they're good. And they should be. I mean, we've kind of, delayed the project a little bit and listened to them, and we reacted to what they've had to say. So I think it was a good process. Unfortunate it happened,
And late,
a week or 2 weeks before we were going to open bids.
Right.
That's the only issue. And we've talked about this, after the fact, like how do we get more information? I think we've had a lot of touch points. It's just unfortunate that they didn't get engaged until that late.
Hindsight's always hard with these things because you want people to understand the project, but the community can't design the water plant, right? So finding that perfect spot to engage people is always really hard. And I think clearly we were late on this one.
Yeah. All right.
I think
Do you have more questions?
I have pictures of the architectural
I was
options.
just going to ask about this.
So,
Yeah.
and to be clear, we've issued the revised architectural rendering or options as a bid
Alternate,
So it's
yeah.
a bid alternate so we will know exactly what the contractor wants to charge for the bid alternate. And then we can decide when we award the project. So this was the original, very basic. There,
That's way better.
the alternate. So roughly, really all we're changing is the bump out in the top and some texture. Our
And the color.
architect has told us about $100,000, I guess, but again, we'll know once the contractors give us
Don't
that.
say that. Don't tell the contractors
We're
that.
hiding it behind a
Is it-
berm. Why do we need to do this?
You'll still see the top. But we also said that going darker probably.
It's an alternate and we'll
Definitely
decide
helps.
and we'll decide.
And the houses on the west side of the plant, we'll still be able to see the plant.
Yeah.
That looks more like a house like that.
So, so again, and we darkened it up a little bit on the lower portion. You can tell in the corners, we actually added full height kind of stone look. So it just gives it some more dimension. It's still very municipal looking, but it's better. We also,
The other one for, still the other one? Go back to the first one. Just kind of, okay, now back. Okay,
Awful.
yeah, okay. All right. All right, go forward.
fairness, I showed it to my wife and she said, you designed what? So I felt bad for
All
her.
right.
And just to be clear, the landscape you see in the front, that's actually the modified landscape that went out with the revised plans. So we decided to actually put some trees in front of the admin building because it's better to look at those, I guess.
Gary loves trees.
Okay. Gary loves
So this is
trees.
the west side of the original. This is the modified. So again, just kind of carrying that bump out look. It's really just a frame.
Is it just a faux facade?
Yeah,
Or
it's just a facade. It's just a steel frame with a fiber cement paneling on it.
Okay,
That's from Highway 7.
and that's just
Much
flat, but yeah.
Mhm.
From the, basically the Three Rivers Park wooded area. Again, you're not going to see much of that anyway, so
Mhm.
not much change there.
Okay,
So that first bullet was before I actually ran the numbers, but
okay.
50,000.
So landscaping now, so we're going to do an alternate bid for the architectural improvements or changes. We'll call them changes. So, um, and they're doing, I didn't understand that we were doing an alternate for Clearwell.
So the clear well to the south of the plant, we wanted to understand the cost to remove that. I think it was
Oh,
one of
okay.
the original directions given to us to help
Yeah,
give us options for bid adjustments if we needed to. So that did get issued as bid alternate one. So we'll see the cost for the clear well and we'll see cost for the architectural. adjustment.
okay. I'm assuming the Clearwell will be a lot more expensive than the,
It will be
architecture.
substantially more expensive
Yeah.
than $100,000.
okay. Yeah, all right.
Happy to answer any other questions. I do apologize about the late request for the.
Thank you. All right. Let's see. So we're looking to approve the amendment to AE2S task order number 11 for the water treatment plant design and bidding. Are there other questions, comments? And is there a motion to approve the amendment?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Lacy. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Govern. Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify with aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Okay, 5-0. Thank you. There you are, sorry. All right, next, that concludes our business items, and thank you, Aaron, and keep us posted on any further costs. All right, thank you. Next, we'll do staff reports.
Madam Mayor, remember, I only have one thing. I had the privilege of presenting at the WCC meeting on Thursday, just about the city and what's going on at the city. It was supposed to be kind of a joint event between the city of Mound and the city of Minnetrista. Mound was going to give an update. We were going to give an update. Mound wasn't able to attend. They had
The
a
hockey injury.
hockey injury. But it was well received. I think the group was asked good questions. Councilmember Lacy was there as well. Good questions, a lot about water and where we're going and, rate questions and things like that. So.
And I'm sorry I had to miss it, but I had a previously planned anniversary trip, and so I was out of the state. Otherwise, I would have been there.
Yep. And then we also need somebody for the planning commission this month.
Is that, I'd have to check.
That is on.
The 28th, 29th?
Yeah, it'd be the 22nd.
Oh, I for sure can't do that.
I might be, you said you can do it?
I cannot.
Yeah, I might be able to do it. What time is it? 7 o'clock?
7 o'clock,
On the 21st, 2nd.
22nd.
Next Monday.
Let me check my calendar.
I can do it if you can.
Okay. I'll get back to them tomorrow and then they can let you know. Okay.
That's all I have.
Any other staff reports? Okay, council reports. Ryan, anything? Claudia?
I was just at the meeting and I think, the Westonka Community Commerce Organization it's very small and it's very repetitive. We see it growing the way I would like. I mean, a Chamber of Commerce costs a lot more money.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's even, they've tried that, didn't really work.
Right.
I'm not saying I'm wasting my time going, but for me, I question my time spent there.
Okay. All right. Peter, anything?
Nope.
Nope.
I attended the Mound Fire Commission meeting back on September 4th. Jasper also went. We spent most of the time discussing the Mound and St. Bonnie pensions, which myself, Lisa, and Jasper will hear about in detail tomorrow at the district meeting for fire.
Partnership meeting.
Partnership meeting.
Yeah.
District partnership, whatever it ends up being. I've lost track.
Too many fire meetings, too many fire meetings.
The big news from the Mound fire was the full time deputy chief will be starting in July of next year. So that's the big budget increase from this year to next year. The total Mound budget is a 6.78% increase for a total of 1.4 million, which basically brings us back to our 2023 budget with them. So we went down a little bit last year and now we're back up. Sorry, 2024, we approved it in 2023. Hourly salary for the firefighters is going to $16 per hour. Our portion is $402,000 and our next meeting will be November 6th. That's
Okay,
the big thing. It was mostly an hour spent about the pension.
so we'll report back because we're going to be talking pension,
Tomorrow.
how we can, yeah, and we'll be talking about that tomorrow. So we'll bring that back at our next meeting. And let's see, planning commission meeting, parks, there were no public safety. So tomorrow morning, I think I'll be seeing you again, along with the people from St. Bonnie for our public safety advisory committee. And I was again out of town on my vacation for the Northwest League, but I'll be attending that one in October. And just had a couple of meetings with some residents regarding some issues. So that's about it. So anybody else having gone through everything, I think we can be adjourned if the motion is made.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Peter. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, you can stay if you're opposed, but motion passes. Thank you.